You're watching College Football Now by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as the West Virginia job is now open after the firing of Neal Brown. On today's show, we will break down the top candidates of who could be the next head coach for the Mountaineers. Before we do so, folks, want to make sure you subscribe to College Football Now by Chat Sports. We are heating things up here on the channel over the next few weeks as we're going to be talking about the college football playoff. We're talking transfer portal, recruiting, coaching hot boards, and more. If you guys would like some more college football content, we need you to subscribe to the channel. So the boss has got a challenge. If we can get 20 subs off today's video, then we'll bring you another video tomorrow on the channel. So simple as that. Subscribe now. Stay up to date with all the latest happenings in the greatest sport on planet Earth. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Neal Brown is out after 6 seasons with the Mountaineers, where he compiled a 37-35 record. Ren Baker, the athletics director at West Virginia, making the decision to move on from Neal Brown. And you look at Neal Brown's tenure, he's been on the hot seat for the last couple of seasons, and it seemed like it was only a matter of time before they would eventually make this change. Neal Brown was given plenty of chances to get this right, but could never get West Virginia to that next level. If you recall, you don't have to go back very long ago to when this team was competing in the Big East for championships there in that conference. And then, since the move to the Big 12, they've never really been much of a threat. He came in to replace Dana Holgorsen and didn't have much more success than what Holgorsen did before him. Did Neal Brown deserve to be fired? I think he did. Just might sound a little harsh, but just being honest here. What do you guys think? Did he deserve to be fired? Y for yes, N for no. Let's start with a big name, a West Virginia native, Jimbo Fisher, the former head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, is the first name on our list. Jimbo's still looking for his next job after being fired from Texas A&M last season, and he had the big buyout from A&M, so he's not necessarily in a rush to find a job. But you talk about the resume that he brings compared to some of these other coaches, it's as good as you're going to get. A national championship to his name at Florida State, did take Texas A&M to a New Year's Six Bowl in the Orange Bowl, but things really fell off for the Aggies at the end of his tenure, and he's got a good offensive track record, and he's been able to recruit top talent that could certainly go a long ways for the Mountaineers. Next up is Barry Odom, who's doing a fantastic job with UNLV. They'll be competing for the Mountain West Conference Championship this week against Boise State, and potentially could be in the college football playoff with a win against the Broncos. Odom started his career with Mizzou, and it didn't go as expected for Odom at Mizzou, but he's rejuvenated things at UNLV this year, and with a little NIL issues, had to make a quarterback change, and yet they still salvaged this season with a chance to compete for a conference title here at the end of the week. A very familiar name to West Virginia fans, Rich Rodriguez, former West Virginia Mountaineers head coach. He had a great run with the Mountaineers many years ago, went on to Michigan, didn't work out there, goes to Arizona, things didn't work out there, but now at Jacksonville State, he's had a very good run with that program, and he's waiting for his name to get called. Could there be a reunion? Could they, amid fences there between Rich Rod and West Virginia, some of the best glory days for this West Virginia Mountaineers team was right there with Rich Rod as their head coach. Could he bring them back to prominence again? He's a name to keep an eye on, and he's a West Virginia alum as well. Let's ask you, should West Virginia bring back Rich Rod? Type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Should he be singing Country Roads and Take Me Home? Once again, weigh in and let us know in the comments section. Today's show is sponsored by GameTime. GameTime is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, GameTime has got you covered. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. They have their seat views, so you can get the visuals, see what that seat is like. You choose the event you want to go to. Let's say you want to go to the College Football National Championship game in Atlanta. You can get your tickets on GameTime. Choose the event. Choose your seat, get that 3D visual, see what that seat is like, and then just like that, you're checking out on GameTime with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? GameTime. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Another big name on our list is former Florida and Mississippi State head coach Dan Mullen. Mullen currently working for ESPN. He's been out of coaching for a couple of seasons now. Did a really good job at Mississippi State. Was largely credited to the development of Dak Prescott. Goes to Florida. Had some success early, but then things fell off pretty fast there for Dan Mullen. Has a good track record of recruiting as well. High-powered offenses. Could be a potential good fit for the Mountaineers. If you're looking for a young, up-and-coming coach, may I present you Jamey Chadwell from Liberty. Jamey Chadwell did a fantastic job at Coastal Carolina. Now he's at Liberty, and he's done a pretty decent job with that program as well. Chadwell, a name to keep an eye on when it comes to these Power 4 jobs, waiting for his name to be called. This would keep him in that East Coast front as well, where he's had his success in his previous two programs, and he's had some fun offenses. Grayson McCall, of course, played under Jamey Chadwell at Coastal Carolina. He would be a name to watch on that front. Now we turn our attention to Jeff Monken, the head coach at Army, and Army's had a fantastic season this year. They were in the college football playoff rankings, suffered a pretty brutal defeat against Notre Dame. But you look at Jeff Monken, and this was a guy that his name came up for as a finalist for the Kansas job a couple of years ago. And the question with Monken that's been out there is, if he were to leave Army, would he abandon the triple option and run a more modern offense, or would he stay with a triple option system? And if he were to stay with a triple option system, could that work at West Virginia? Speaking of offense, let's talk Andy Kotelnicki, the offensive coordinator at Penn State. Did an incredible job with the Kansas Jayhawks over the last couple of seasons under Lance Leipold, and that offense took a significant step back this year after Kotelnicki left for Penn State. Penn State's offense has greatly improved this year with Kotelnicki calling the shots there, and they got a chance to compete for a Big Ten title. He is waiting for his name to get called for a big-time head coaching job. That's why he left Kansas, was to prove himself, get out of Lance Leipold's shadow. He's a name to keep an eye on of up-and-coming coordinators that are looking for their chance. Who should be West Virginia's next head coach? Weigh in the comments section. Give us a name that comes to mind that you would like to see get the job there in Morgantown. Another offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock from Notre Dame. Notre Dame, it's been an interesting year for the Fighting Irish. They'll be in the college football playoff. Had an early loss to Northern Illinois, but we've seen that offense improve drastically throughout the season, and they've looked very physical up front. Denbrock is a name to keep an eye on, not just for this West Virginia job, but for other openings as well. Another OC to keep an eye on is Colin Klein at Texas A&M. Did a really good job at Kansas State under Chris Kleiman. Goes to Texas A&M to kind of prove himself. And that Texas A&M offense has been very good this year. They had to make a quarterback change, but the offense was still very solid with Colin Klein calling the shots there in his first year with the Aggies. Success with two different programs as their OC. He is a coach on the rise. Last one, this one's more of a joke, but we figured we'd throw him in anyway. Pat McAfee, the host of the Pat McAfee Show, PMS, probably the most famous West Virginia alum at this point in time. Not a serious candidate, just like Nick Saban is not going to be taking this job either, and I know people have thrown his name around. But something to keep in mind, why I want to bring up McAfee, is that McAfee is going to be involved in this coaching search. He has made that known that he is going to have a role and that he's invested in this program. There's a lot of potential NIL opportunities. I'm not saying that Pat McAfee's going to be head coach and bring his buddy Chuck Pagano to be DC and have Tone Diggs on his staff and all those guys from the PMS show. That's not happening. But Pat McAfee, you better believe, is going to have a say in this direction of what Wren Baker and company is going to do. It'll be intriguing to follow and see how much he's involved there with that West Virginia program going forward. For continuing college football coverage, subscribe now to College Football Now by Chat Sports. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.